In this video, I'll share the top 5 insights from Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, authored by Robert Kiyosaki. When he was just 12, Robert Kiyosaki embarked on a beach stroll with his mentor, referred to as Rich Dad. Out of the blue, Rich Dad gestured towards a lavish beachfront property, announcing, "Do you see that grand residence? I've acquired it." Young Robert was baffled at how Rich Dad, who wasn't ostensibly affluent then, managed such a purchase. When probed, Rich Dad simply revealed, "Personally, I couldn't, but my enterprise could." This book's wisdom is rooted in the philosophies of Robert's rich dad, who steered Robert into amassing substantial affluence. Let's dissect these insights to see if we can replicate their success formula. Insight 1. Forge assets that procure more assets. Despite the fact that Robert's biological father held a prestigious position and earned significantly more than Rich Dad, he could never have dreamed of owning the aforementioned beach property. Rich Dad explained that Robert's real father had dedicated his existence to generating money that augmented another's fortune, while Rich Dad had invested years cultivating his wealth within his venture. Rich Dad's advice emphasizes the necessity of constructing your assets, as hourly earnings seldom lead to richness. Echoing Warren Buffett, "If you don't earn money while you slumber, you'll toil till you expire." Upon successfully establishing an asset that garners a favorable cash flow, you can leverage this to amplify your assets column by obtaining more assets. The goal is continuous investment in assets that bolster your cash flow, using the extra funds to secure even more assets, thus setting a cycle of growth in motion. Done correctly, this induces a snowball effect. A significant advantage of utilizing asset-generated cash flow for investment, rather than salary, is that this money can be deployed as gross income since it's not distributed by the parent firm to anyone yet. Rich Dad utilized this approach, purchasing assets through his enterprise using gross income, subsequently paying taxes on what remained, whereas Robert's biological father faced taxes on gross income, striving to acquire assets with what was left. Moreover, there's a safety aspect. Asset ownership and management entail risks, similar for personal or corporate handling. However, corporate structuring offers better personal protection should risks manifest. Insight 2. Employ debt as a tool. Opinions on debt often diverge. Some view it negatively, advocating for its complete avoidance due to its perceived perils. Others acknowledge its potential to accelerate wealth accumulation. Robert Kiyosaki recognizes the existence of detrimental debt, as cautioned by skeptics, but also advocates for beneficial debt. The distinction hinges on debt's purpose and its cash flow repercussions. Detrimental debt emerges when individuals, advancing in their careers and earning more, qualify for greater debt, typically channeled into luxury homes, vehicles, or other non-essentials. This type of debt is detrimental as it strains cash flow, deepening reliance on consistent earnings. Over time, this pattern becomes a wealth accumulation barrier due to the addictive nature of consumption financed by bad debt. Thus, with salary increases, adverse personal debt escalates, perpetuating a harmful cycle. Conversely, beneficial debt strengthens cash flow. Wealthy individuals leverage their robust cash flow to secure more debt, not for liabilities, but to enhance existing assets' performance or to acquire new ones, fostering a beneficial cycle. Insight 3. Escalate expenses, curb income. At 9, while undertaking menial tasks for Rich Dad for a meager wage, Robert sought a pay increase. Rather than negotiating, Rich Dad eliminated his earnings, intending to prevent an employee mindset dependency on steady pay. According to Rich Dad, employees generally believe financial advancement hinges on maximizing salary, countered by minimal living expenses. Contrarily, Rich Dad championed the inverse. Instead of seeking income maximization, one should aim to elevate expenses. Before you decide to dismiss this video, let me elaborate. The initial segment, focusing on reducing income, emphasizes the importance of not relying on a steady paycheck, a lesson Rich Dad instilled in a young Robert at 9 years old. The strategy involves reinvesting all surplus funds into your business, deliberately keeping personal income to a minimum. The latter segment, advocating for increased expenses, might defy intuition, but it's likely because you're considering the wrong kind of expenditures. The expenses you want to maximize are those that propel your business forward. Attending seminars, purchasing educational books, acquiring new skills, expanding your team, or investing in new assets. These are the types of costs that ultimately help you break free from the endless cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Rich Dad's philosophy is clear. The majority of individuals end up financially strapped because they maintain a poverty mindset, desiring high income and low expenses. If you're unable to flip this mental switch, you'll find yourself perpetually caught in a lifestyle of frugality, driven by the fear of financial loss. Once you grasp why the wealthy prefer ample expenses and minimal income, you'll recognize that there's more to the financial picture than meets the eye. Takeaway number 4, embrace the 3 E's. Rich Dad preached that three crucial elements would shape a prosperous investor and entrepreneur: education, experience, and excess cash. These three E's are indispensable if you want to recognize and capitalize on the ever-present and ever-evolving opportunities around you. Firstly, let's discuss education. It's straightforward but crucial. You must grasp the fundamentals of how businesses function, understand industry dynamics, and, most critically, become adept at dissecting financial statements. Absent this foundational knowledge, your ventures fall into the realm of mere speculation, with outcomes reflecting that risk. Then there's experience. This involves practical engagement in business endeavors. Rich Dad would present a blank financial statement to his son and Robert Kiyosaki, challenging them to identify potential assets. He believed that true business acumen was forged in the fires of creation, failure, learning, and persistent endeavor. Lastly, we come to excess cash. Rich Dad posited that this element requires less emphasis compared to the initial two E's. With robust education and valuable experience, the generation of excess cash becomes almost inevitable. This stage involves maintaining firm control over your assets, leveraging cash flow for further asset acquisition, and judiciously using debt to accelerate wealth formation. Emerging from academic life, many people pursue employment, overlooking genuine opportunities. This oversight initiates a downward spiral where hard-earned money is squandered. Equip yourself with the three E's and never pass up a golden opportunity, even if it doesn't promise immediate ascension in the corporate hierarchy. Takeaway number 5, embark on your journey now. Rich Dad encouraged Robert Kiyosaki to launch his inaugural business venture as a side hustle, a strategy that Robert now endorses. Retain your day job if it's necessary for basic financial security for yourself and your dependents. However, dedicate all additional resources, energy, and time to building your business. Engage, experiment, stumble, learn, and persist. There's no time like the present. Over time, with a history of attempts, setbacks, and insights, your probability of success with subsequent ventures steadily improves. Rich Dad's wisdom resonates. As an entrepreneur, you don't need a majority of successful attempts. You only need to strike gold once. Nevertheless, ensure your resilience in the face of worst-case scenarios. You must possess the capacity to rebound. According to Rich Dad, most millionaires endure the collapse of 3 enterprises before hitting the jackpot. In stark contrast, the average individual has never experienced a single business failure. This discrepancy explains why a scant 10% of the population commands 90% of the wealth. Before you delve into initiating your part-time enterprise, let's briefly recap. Construct your financial engine by establishing an asset base that perpetually generates more assets. Once you decipher a successful algorithm, view debt as an ally to augment your cash flow. Restrict personal income and aggressively invest in growth-oriented expenses. To capture financial opportunities, arm yourself with education, experience, and excess cash. Remember, success doesn't hinge on an unblemished track record. You just need one breakthrough, so start today. For more insightful content, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to our channel, and ensure you hit the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest videos.